Hello and welcome. Tonight, history is made as premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, from Dangote refinery is set to hit the Nigerian market any moment from now as NNPCL trucks load its first set of PMS. With less than 7 days to the governorship election in Edo State, Channels Television and its partner, Impact Development Initiative, delves into the state of security in a town hall with major players in the election. 100 young men and women are formally inducted as knights into CIG Motors as the company transits into a new name, CIG Mobility. And countries across Central and Eastern Europe are facing extreme flooding as Storm Boris wreaks havoc across the continent. About 2 weeks after rolling out its first premium motor spirit, Dangote refinery has recorded another major feat with the lifting of its PMS by NNPCL from the refinery located in the Ibeju-Lekki area of Lagos State. The $20 billion Lekki-based facility is equipped with 86 gantries, making it possible to load 86 trucks simultaneously. The Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, who led the federal government delegation to the refinery, is calling on domestic refiners to change the narrative and begin legal export of refined petroleum products. It is, however, not clear what the NNPCL paid for PMS at the refinery. While the statement by the NNPCL spokesman, Femi Shonaya, says the company paid 898 naira per litre, Dangote refinery, in a statement by its spokesperson, Tony Chejina, asked Nigerians to await a formal announcement on pricing by the Technical Subcommittee on Naira-based crude sales to local refineries. Our energy correspondent, Olu Phillips, now reports.
What a historic breakthrough day for all Nigerians. The last few months have been those of tensed moments, apprehension, and times when many residents became strict observers of events, analysts at other times, but ultimately united in one purpose: the yearnings for petroleum product availability. After months of work, the Presidential Committee, through its technical work group, finalized on directives from the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on modalities to ensure a common operational space for the country's national oil company, NNPCL, and the Dangote Refinery Company. This is the long and short form of the story. The Dangote team asked for two things: crude supply, and that crude be paid for in Naira. Those prayers appear to have been answered, courtesy of the federal government through the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Just as the coordinating minister of the economy is here to supervise the process, essentially and effectively, the NNPCL has commenced lifting of PMS out of Lagos, and it brings such joy to the refinery stewards.
Now, after 52 years, now we have a solution, and the solution is local production of PMS, and it is from a Nigerian-owned company, and as an EPC contractor, it was constructed by a Nigerian company. So it's a matter of great pride that a Nigerian-owned company, constructed by a Nigerian-owned company, is able to generate PMS from the local crude and deliver not only to meet the entire requirements of Nigeria, but we can also have surplus to export.
In the midst of the frenzy and monumental positive shift, we asked the team lead the question on your lips.
What Nigerians can look forward to is energy security, energy sufficiency, and as we look forward, we can also look at the issue of cost. What we're expecting that as this refinery and even others, as they ramp up production, ramp up scale, and achieve greater economies of scale, there should be the opportunity, and there is definitely the potential to reduce their costs, which should pass on to the consumer. So we have to give them a chance. They have just started. They have done very, very well.
One huge step is out of the way. And as the finance minister said, having delivered this, Nigeria is on the path of global competitiveness, which again, of course, can only also happen when local prices are competitive. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against President Bola Tinubu over what it says is the failure to direct the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to reverse the apparently unlawful increase in the pump price of petrol and to probe the allegations of corruption and mismanagement in the NNPCL. Joined in the suit as respondents are the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi-San, and the NNPCL. SERAP is asking the court to compel President Tinubu to direct the NNPCL to reverse the unjust, illegal, unconstitutional, and unreasonable increase in the price of petrol from 845 naira to 600 naira per litre. In a statement by SERAP's Deputy Director, Mr. Kolawole Uluwadare, the group is also asking the court to compel President Tinubu to direct Mr. Lateef Fagbemi and appropriate anti-corruption agencies to probe the allegations of corruption and mismanagement in the NNPCL. More on the lifting of PMS from Dangote refinery and, of course, its implications in the course of the bulletin. With the Borno State government still counting the cost of the impact of the flood, which caused significant damage to the state capital, many residents are urging donors to help in the efforts to rebuild. The people were affected by the flooding, which was caused by a damaged part of the Alo Dam in Konduga local government area in Borno State. Our environment correspondent Ayola Kasim in this next report looks at the impact of the heavy rainfall on the dam just outside of the Borno State capital.
The fisher folks in Alu community are back on the Ngada River, the river that feeds the Alu dams. Many residents depend on the river for their livelihoods, and with the water level down, they are back at work. Located about 20 kilometers from Maiduguri city center, the collapsed dam is one of two in the area, and the one that has evidently been abandoned for years. The other were not allowed to film. The Earthfield Dam was overtopped after the heavy rainfall, with no solid spillway to control the passage of the surplus water over and around the dam. It is also not designed to permit uncontrolled flow of water downstream. What followed have been a disaster.
You are right, because we have problem of maintenance in the dam. We had a similar disaster 30 years ago, although the extent is not up to this one. But I believe the dam requires reconstruction.
Inadequate spillway has eroded the dam over the years. The last heavy rainfall washed off a side of the embankment, and the free flow of water still finds its way to the city. Back in the city, many are still counting their losses.
State Specialist Hospital Maiduguri. The flooding medical ward has been cleared, clean, disinfected, and some of the rooms have been fumigated. You can see the soakaways, the sewages have been mixed with the flooding water. So we're afraid of all these waterborne diseases. So we've taken care of that, and now it's fully functional. And also the maternity, amenity ward is also functional. It has been cleaned, it has been disinfected, and where there are needs of fumigation, it has been done, and patients are there receiving services. And we are now thinking of the oxygen plant. The water is still there, it's still waterlogged, but the water level has calmed down, and we are sure some of the machines have also been submerged. So we would like to have an assessment before we talk of maybe starting oxygen production. But certainly it's one of our lifelines, especially for our premature babies, those that are oxygen dependent. Actually, we depend on the machine.
Green Concern for Development, a not-for-profit organization which works with the poor and socially excluded people in Borno State, has paused its operations.
Our items, the wash items, nutrition items, our drugs, as we took those photos, they were all spoiled, and it has all been damaged. Our warehouse there has been submerged by water already. There are some other few items that were left we couldn't carry. They were all submerged by the flood.
With the dam still in the same state and climate changing, any delay in repairs means more lives are still at risk.
Now that we used to receive increasing volume of water into the dam, coupled with climate change, there's the need for us to increase the carrying capacity of the dam. You are right. And most importantly, siltation of the riverbanks and the waterways is also one of the biggest problems that we are facing. Another biggest problem that we are facing is human factors. Human beings do use to build houses right inside waterways.
The government is supposed to stop them, sir.
We stopped them. We demolished up to about 4,000, 5,000 homes. Some years back when I took over power as the governor of Borno State. But you know, in a democratic society, although I am resilient enough, people complain that we are trying to displace them. You know what I'm saying. So people thought that government is trying to displace people, but many have seen what has happened.
While some may argue that natural disasters are unfortunately a fact of life, neglecting to protect infrastructure to help people to cope with it is not right.
Many of the people here are just trying to rebuild their lives and livelihoods after more than a decade-long insurgency. For them, this is one disaster too many. Some even fear the outbreak of waterborne diseases and feel the odds are just against them. But will the authorities do the right thing? Well, only time will tell. From Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, Ayola Kasim, Channels Television News.
Staying with the Borno flood, the Nigerian Correctional Service has declared 281 inmates missing from the medium security custodial center Maiduguri after the evacuation of inmates by officers of the service with support from sister security agencies. A statement by the service public relations officer, Mr. Abubakar Umar, says the Maiduguri flood brought down the walls of the correctional facilities, including the medium security custodial center Maiduguri, as well as the staff quarters in the city. The statement adds that upon the evacuation of inmates by officers of the service with support from sister security agencies to a safe and secure facility, 281 inmates were observed to be missing. However, the statement says a total of 7 inmates have been recaptured and returned to custody, while efforts are on to track down the rest and bring them back to safe custody. Politics now, as the Edo governorship election beckons, the Labour governorship party candidate, Mr. Olumide Akpata, has taken his campaigns to Edo Central and Edo North senatorial districts. He was accompanied by the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, who chronicled the state of the nation and then called for a change of attitude. Our correspondent, Osaze Obaze, now reports.
Igara, Edo North Senatorial District. The Labour Party faithful receiving their governorship candidate, Olumide Akpata, and Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi. At Edo Central Senatorial District, another enthusiastic are here. Labour Party governorship candidate believes they have put in the work, getting to know the needs of the electorate, and gives the thumbs up for the huge security presence expected during the election period.
Labour Party will be the first victim in this voter apathy, because the people, we go to the people are with us. So we want a situation where the people are confident enough to come out. We hear that the military will also be around. We're happy. We are paying no mind to those who are complaining. There are 2 groups. One group is complaining that they have been intimidated. Another group are happy. They think that the deployment of military is for their own, is in their own favor. It is not. I can tell you for free, it is not. And I tell the people, come out and vote. The army and the police are not there to favor any political party. They are there to create a pathway for the people to be able to go and exercise their franchise.
Mr. Peter Obi harps on the state of affairs in Nigeria, highlighting the state of infrastructure, the need to now do things differently.
What the country is going through today, what our states are going through today is very regrettable. In a places where you used to drive around with ease. For example, where today in Bauchi, I did my youth service camp in this city. And of course, I served in Borno State. And I know how easy it is for me to drive from Benin to Bauchi. Today, it took almost 5 hours to do the same trip that ordinarily is under 2 hours. It can't continue.
The campaign trains returned on Wednesday for the Edo South Senatorial District campaign. Osaze Obaze, Channels Television News.
In part 2 after the break, more on the Edo governorship elections, plus Channels Television data analyst takes a look at the entrance of Dangote PMS into the Nigerian market and its implications for the supply and pricing of the product. Talking about Babajide Oguso. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. History is made as premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, from Dangote refinery, is set to hit the Nigerian market any moment from now as NNPCL trucks load its first set of PMS. With less than 7 days to the governorship election in Edo State, Channels Television and its partner Kimpact Development Initiative delves into the state of security in a town hall with major players in the election. 100 young men and women are formally inducted as knights into CIG Motors as the company transits into a new name, CIG Mobility. And countries across Central and Eastern Europe are facing extreme flooding as Storm Boris wreaks havoc across the continent. Still on the Edo governorship election, the governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, has told the people of Edo that a vote for the APC candidate will bring greater development to the state, as the party's candidate intends to continue from where former Governor Adams Oshomole stopped in the party's development plans. Governor Ododo was speaking to APC members and supporters during the mega youth rally for the APC governorship and deputy governorship candidates in Igara Akoko-Edo local government area of the state. The restated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu, who was also at the event, advised the electorate to vote in leaders who are sympathetic.
Supporters of the APC, as well as members of the party, assemble at the central field in Igara, Akoko-Edo local government area, for the Edo Youth Mega Campaign Rally in support of the APC governorship and deputy governorship candidates. Though the party's candidates for the 21st September election are absent, the youth are reminded that the good governance the APC intends to provide would translate to a better future for them, with the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, highlighting qualities the people need to look out for in a leader.
We want governor who gets sympathy. We want governor who understand the pains of the people. We don't want governor who go come tell us, say, this road is federal government, bear with us.
The governor of Kogi State, Ahmed Odudu, who has come with other leaders of the APC in Kogi State to support his party in Edo State, takes the floor next.
In his government, the youth, we have at least 30% affirmation. Women, we have 35% affirmation. And as such, when you have a sincere leader leading from the front, the result is what we are seeing today. Nobody is coming to build from where our leader Oshomole stopped. He's coming to consolidate on his achievements.
A major focus in the day's campaign talks was the importance of the electorate taking their support beyond campaign activities to the polling units by ensuring the turnout to cast their votes on 21st September.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party is again raising concerns over alleged plans by the All Progressives Congress to manipulate the forthcoming governorship election in the state. The Edo State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nahikari, made the allegations during a press briefing at the Government House in Benin City. According to Mr. Nahikari, intelligence reports gathered by the party suggest that the police is set to arrest more prominent PDP leaders in the state.
1. Despite all the appeals made to the police to end the indiscriminate arrest of chieftains of PDP, they have yet deployed some other squads of policemen from outside Edo State to begin massive arrests of PDP chieftains perceived to be politically strong in their various constituencies in order to pave way for the manipulation of the elections in those areas. This intimidation tactics is irresponsible and most reprehensible. 2, our intelligence has also uncovered massive production of masks and police uniforms by agents of the APC to veil their thugs who they plan to deploy to disrupt voting processes in units and wards where they know they do not stand a chance of victory. Only recently, a chieftain of the APC wore one of these uniforms, and the police even presented defense for such wanton display of impersonation. We have also uncovered plans to redeploy all the security officials attached to His Excellency Governor Obaseki in order to leave him without protection and render him vulnerable as we head into the election as well as on election day. This is a very dangerous thing, and we got this information from very close to the highest officer in the Nigerian police, and we take it very, very seriously. And we know what their plans are. Cause as much distraction, as much disorder in our state.
Petrol from the Dangote refinery is now available in commercial quantities. Well, what are the implications and what is the outlook for Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector? Tonight, Babajide Ogusao, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is here to share more insights about the future of petrol supply in Nigeria. Babajide, it's great to have you again on the News at 10.
Welcome back again, Ayatollah.
Yes, welcome back. It's great to be back. But of course, we're looking at the situation concerning petrol. Dangote refinery, good news, I should say, now producing petrol in commercial quantities. Babajide, what are the implications for the government and the people of Nigeria going forward?
Like you described it, clearly for a $20 billion investment over the years for the owners, it's good news. But what does this really mean? You know, in street language, there's something called everybody go collect. In simple terms, everybody now will be buying Panadol. Clearly, Alhaji Aliko will need some of this. The NNPC is going to need some of this. Citizens, you and I will need some of this, and I'll explain all of this. The labor union will get some paracetamol as well. Now, why is all of this important? First is, why will Aliko Dangote need some paracetamol? The evidence we have is that the price from the Dangote refinery, approximately 898 naira, and that's the basic cost. However, this product, same product, the NNPC is bringing in for approximately 840 naira. So clearly, Aliko Dangote will have some headaches on how we can achieve what the NNPC is achieving. The citizens will have some headache because the price of petrol is not about to go down. The labor union will have some headaches. Should they protest or should they not protest? Is the labor union asking for a full market price, or do they want the federal government to come in to provide some support on pricing level? Analysts clearly also are having some headache, looking at the sort of billions potentially that this refinery will be going into the pockets of Aliko Dangote. But finally, Ayotunde, perhaps the greatest headache and most paracetamol will be used by the federal government. And why do I say so? By this time next year, the electoral calendar will be up. And if we take a look at where the sort of numbers the president had in the last election vis-a-vis the sort of price petrol has changed since he came in, you'll be stunned. Here's what I mean. Looking at where we started from last week. In the North Central region, looking at since when the president came in, price of petrol has increased by 258%. Don't forget how today the president only scored 39% of the votes in the North Central. Look at the Northwest. Northwest petrol price has grown by, based on the National Bureau of Statistics, 220%. Again, in the Northwest, where you have a lot of votes, the president only had 40% of the total votes. Look at the Southeast. Petrol price has increased by 207%. The president only had 6% of the votes in the Southeast. And in the South-South, petrol price has increased by 185%. In the last election, the president only had 28% of the votes in the South-South. So you clearly understand the sort of headaches that, yes, the federal government will be having, especially the president, on what should be done to petrol pricing. Should these prices be allowed to keep skyrocketing? Will Aliko Dangote really be able to provide any help to lower this price? The information we currently have shows that the NNPC might most likely be landing this product at a significantly lower price. So the question is, it's good news looking at the journey so far, but at whose cost? Ayotunde.
Interesting. So how much, of course, will the sales of petrol help to stabilize the naira coming from the Dangote refinery? I mean, because we talk about NNPCL, of course, still having a larger say in the way the whole business is being run. How does that affect Dangote refinery?
So I was hoping that it will. Most likely it might, but I'm sticking to the facts. And if we look at the facts from the National Bureau of Statistics about how much petrol is imported into the country relative to all other things that are imported in the country, it provides clarity on what exactly is taking most of Nigeria's foreign exchange. And if you take a look at Nigeria's trade, looking at how much have we imported since the April last year to date, June 2024, total imports into Nigeria, Ayotunde, 53.4 trillion manufactured goods. Based on the evidence from the National Bureau of Statistics, manufactured goods accounts for more than half of everything that comes into Nigeria. Petrol, oil, energy goods, just about 30%, and then we have raw materials, agriculture. So clearly, if we want to stabilize the naira, looking at petrol imports is just one little way to look at it. The real challenge we face is that majority of our imported goods isn't petrol, it is manufactured goods. So one of the things that the president needs to really be thinking about next is, how do you want to make Nigeria a manufacturing hub?
An industrialized nation.
And clearly, what will be our leverage? So what is going to give us an advantage? We clearly can't manufacture everything. So what will be our comparative advantage in areas of manufacture? We need to really take that seriously if we want to manage and stabilize the naira. And again, it depends on what our focus is. Do we have a plan to strengthen the naira, or do we have a deliberate plan to weaken the naira because of the benefits that may come from it? We're really not clear on what direction the government wants to go.
Another interesting thing I would like to point out to you, Babajide, of course, that Dangote refinery, there's talk perhaps it's receiving crude oil locally. Is there any evidence about that?
We've done a lot of research into that, and the evidence shows that, yes, in recent months, the NNPC, yes, has been giving the refinery crude oil. And if you take a look at some of the numbers shows that Dangote has been loading crude oil, is being allocated crude oil. The challenge he probably has is he has a refinery of 650,000 barrels per day. The crude oil that is getting from the NNPC so far, we're looking at, if you look at, depending on the period you look at some points it's been 150,000, 160,000, 170,000. Potentially will be going as high as in excess of 300,000 barrels per day on an average from October. However, the challenge is, will Dangote as well, will he not be importing? And the evidence we have is, if he's going to have to want to optimize his refinery's capacity, then it's also likely that even the refinery will keep importing petroleum products. But the challenge now is,
and that's of course that leads to the last question I was going to ask you, as we round off very quickly. What are the implications as far as pricing is concerned?
What is clear is the prices are not about to go down. We clearly see now that
is that a fact? The prices are not about to go down?
Prices are not about to go down. That is the fact. That is the fact. If at all, prices may likely go up. So if it's on a probability. But looking at what exactly will the fuel queues be gone, the top three factors that will now determine Nigeria's fuel supply will be: keep an eye on the Naira-dollar exchange rate, look at how much purchase volumes will the Dangote refinery be able to give the NNPC? If the NNPC chooses to stop importing, can we get stable volumes, or will the fuel queues return? And finally, what will the Minister of Petroleum Resources, President Bola Tinubu, what exactly is his vision for Nigerian consumers?
All right, we'll leave it at that. Babajide Ogunsanya, thank you so much for your thoughts on the news at 10.
It's a pleasure. Don't forget to take your paracetamol, because you surely will need it.
We definitely will need it. Still ahead on the news at 10, 100 young men and women are formally inducted as knights into CIG Motors as the company transits into a new name, CIG Mobility. Please stay with us. Welcome back onto the news at 10. Now, the convener of the National Peace Committee, Bishop Matthew Kuka, is asking candidates and eligible voters in the September 21st governorship election in Edo State to carry out their civic responsibility without violence. Bishop Kuka was speaking as a panelist on election issues and peaceful conduct at the Edo Security Town Hall, organized by Channels Television and its partner Kimpact Development Initiative at the nation's capital, Abuja.
As far as Edo is concerned, I am very convinced that Edo elections will come, they will pass, they will be peaceful, there may be arguments, and there ought to be arguments. Because the most important thing in political processes is that the more you have these debates, the more people have opportunities to ventilate, the better it is. So my hope is that ordinary Nigerians will learn that these politicians that you see, don't worry about their quarrels, because somehow they will find a way of settling their problems. The important thing that we say to Nigerians is you vote to stay alive.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria police is reiterating that plans are in top gear to ensure a well-secured election in the state. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of training and development, Mr. Frank Mba, who was also at the town hall, explains that local vigilantes are not part of election security and their services are not required during the election.
So in this election, you will see that we're doing both covert and overt deployment. And as I speak to you, undercover operatives are already in Edo. We'll be carrying special operations in Edo. We'll be carrying out raids that are not just indiscriminate, raids that are intelligence-driven, raids that are purpose-oriented, raids that are target-oriented by law, by convention, and by practice. Vigilantes and non-conventional security outfits are never part of the electoral process. Under the Electoral Act, the law clearly states the agencies that can participate in policing the electoral space.
Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, former head of state General Abdulsalam Abubakar and General Aliyu Guzo visited the former heads of state General Ibrahim Babangida this evening at his hilltop residence in Minna, the Niger state capital. The four elder statesmen held a closed-door meeting that lasted for about 1 hour, after which Chief Obasanjo left Minna around 6 p.m. While the essence of the meeting was not disclosed, Chief Obasanjo, in a statement issued in Abeokuta on Sunday night, explained that he visited General Ibrahim Babangida to felicitate with him on his birthday. 100 young, smart and vibrant men and women have been onboarded to the workforce of CIG Motors at a ceremony in Lagos tagged CIG Night Induction 2024. The executive director of the company, Jibril Arugundade, says the idea, which is the brainchild of Diana Chen, chairman of CIG Motors, is to ensure there is efficiency in the system as CIG transits to CIG Mobility. The inductees are some of the best brains selected from top 10 universities in the country.
It's the CIG Nights Induction Ceremony 2024, where a new crop of young people are being onboarded to the company's workforce. The idea is to ensure the foundational level of the company is useful, dynamic and smart, and these CIG Nights have been prepared for that purpose. While delivering the keynote address, navigating the automotive industry, the company's executive director drops a note of advice.
We believe that as you have taken the course to choose CIG today, you have chosen a career that we will go with you together. And like I said to you in the boot camp, you only have 3 to 5 years to become a manager. All of you here, you have 3 to 5 years to become a manager in this company or wherever you are.
An all-female panel session takes a look at leadership and growth, building a successful career, sharing from their wealth of experience.
So I've learned that, being vocal about, your achievement, being vocal about what you've done is very critical. Bringing your 100% into any project you do is extremely, extremely important.
That very first thing that you saw when you were going into that thing, and you keep your eyes on it, that alone for me gives me the energy to constantly keep going. Right. If you take your eyes off that goal, you lose it completely.
Something Jibril said is that everyone who has been selected here today, they picked the best of the best minds. Collaboration between each other is very important. Take it as a group effort. Take it as a group work. It is all for the growth of CIG.
100 of these young Nigerians have gone through a thorough screening during their boot camp. It's now time for their formal certificate.
Congratulations.
And so they file out one by one. Those who put in extra efforts during the boot camp also get some incentives.
All right.
The inductees soon shed their gown, ready to hit the town with so much optimism.
It's a great one. I want to join this ride.
1, 2, 3.
This is what it is.
CIG, they are concerned about your growth. They want you to grow, not just by doing the company work, but also growing personally and both professionally. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
With the onboarding over, the management of CIG says this is a step in the right direction.
We are building a team, an army of young Nigerians that will reshape our industry and, of course, help in reshaping Nigeria.
As the company transits from CIG Motors to CIG Mobility, the inductees are also expected to continue to hone their skills and bring to bear all they've been taught and much more towards a stronger, better and bigger organization.
The federal government has commenced the distribution of compressed natural gas conversion kits under the presidential CNG initiative to some designated locations in Lagos, Kaduna, Oyo, Ogun State, and of course Abuja. This is part of the 10,000 kits allocated for distribution to transport associations within the next 1 week and part of the 1 million free CNG conversion kits intended for distribution to commercial vehicles across the 36 states and Abuja within the next 18 months.
The first set of beneficiaries of the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Conversion Implementation Initiative are present with the team as they hand over the first set of the kits to the personnel of Portland Gas at Ojota Interchange Terminal in Lagos.
We are pushing out 10,000 kits, activating 1,000 kits across.
Under the initiative, the first 50 transport operators will be given the kits free of charge. Those present have come to take advantage of the government's largesse as they are made to understand how the conversion is done.
Electrofit CNG on it.
Commercial Operations Manager, Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Conversion, Omo Imokwede, speaks on the importance of the initiative.
We all know the impact of the fuel price, and we understand fully that we have alternatives. Gas is one of them. And for you to fill up your car right now, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. But if you convert to CNG, you're looking at savings of almost 80% in comparison to how much you actually spend on petrol.
Some of the transport operators on the ground expressed their opinion on how it will enhance their business.
Some of our drivers have done it, and it's very, very far cheaper than the cost of fuel.
When we learned that when you change to the gas, the price of the gas is so cheaper. That is why we are here.
The team moves to other conversion centers in Isolo and Bagada to hand over more kits.
Nigeria is more or less like a gas country, and we have to leverage on that to
for our energy security purpose. So I really believe that this partnership will continue, and we will see how best we can also assist the government in pushing it.
CNG is a safe gas. It's safer than your petrol combustion. It reduces emissions, so it promotes cleaner energy.
The Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative aims to transform Nigeria's transportation by introducing over 11,500 CNG-enabled vehicles and 55,000 conversion kits for petrol vehicles. The initiative was launched under the directive of President Bola Tinubu, in line with the government's drive towards energy diversification, reduction of energy costs, and the general cost of living for Nigerians.
In Enugu State, Governor Peter Mba has flagged off the revitalization of the Enugu United Palm Products Limited. The flag-off, which took place at Ibitolo Izagu local government area of the state, is sequel to the 100 billion naira deal between the Enugu State government and Pragmatic Palms Limited, signed in May this year, 2024. Governor Mba, who gave an insight to the details of the contract, stated that the project, when completed, will transform Enugu State as a premier destination for investment, industry, tourism, business, and living.
We knew the value and the significance of this investment, not just the economic benefit, but also the social benefit, the employment that it would generate, the wealth that it would create for the local community. And of course, on the part of the state, the assets we are presenting and other associated activities that we are going to carry out would also see us having an equity of 13.4 billion naira, which represents 40% of the entire size of the company. And just like we are committing to Pragmatic Palms Limited to offer them all the necessary support and to ensure that we keep to our own part of the bargain in providing all the infrastructure that we have undertaken to provide.
Médecins Sans Frontières (MSF) has raised an alarm over a significant increase in child malnutrition cases at their facility in Bauchi State. The number of affected children has more than doubled since last year, prompting a call for an expanded response to this critical issue. Our correspondent Hajara Aliu visits the inpatient therapeutic feeding center in Ganjua, Bauchi State, and provides more details.
Inside the Medicine Sans Frontier MSF pediatric facility in Kafimada, Ganjua local government area of Bauchi State, a mother brings her under 6-month-old child for treatment. The child undergoes a triage process for malnutrition and is promptly placed on emergency care for severe cases. Since 2002, MSF, in collaboration with the Bauchi State government, has been offering free hospital and community care to patients under 15 years of age. However, this year, the situation has deteriorated with a dramatic surge in malnutrition cases. MSF reports that from January to June 2024, the hospital recorded over 5,000 admissions at the Inpatient Therapeutic Feeding Center, ITFC, and 17,000 at the Ambulatory Therapeutic Feeding Center, ATFC. This represents a 127% increase for ITFC and a 123% increase for ATFC compared to the same period last year.
This is an extension of the Inpatient Therapeutic Feeding Center, ITFC, where malnourished patients are stabilized. On the average, this facility admits 25 to 40 patients daily, and most times, the bed capacity of this hospital is exceeded.
The surge in cases is expected to continue, and in response, the facility is expanding by adding more tents, increasing its capacity from 250 to 350 beds. Barato's child is currently recovering after spending nearly a week in the hospital. Some children arrive with severe complications. One mother is seen in distress as her baby with hypothermia is treated with a survival blanket.
I thought my child was not going to survive when I got here. Surprisingly, he has recovered because of the medical attention we received here.
MSF says survival rate is above 90% at the facility, though doctors note that late arrivals are a significant challenge.
In phase 1, that's where we stabilize the medical conditions the patients come with, which is a complication we talk about. And then in that phase 1, to make sure the patient regains appetite, is able to eat, and of course the body can be able to gain the sufficient quantity of milk is expected to get, or ready rather to get higher calories of milk before we move them to transition phase.
Since they are living far from the hospital and they are really in those areas, they are poor, they don't have access to healthcare, they prefer going to see first the traditional healers. And those traditional healers, they will give them concoctions. And the all challenge that we are having even in our hospital, we have some mothers who are still giving those concoctions to these children in the hospital.
The state government is also responding to the situation.
But the state government is working and is trying to put effort to establish a ready-to-use therapeutic food factory in Bauchi State, where we are going to produce IOTM for fighting food and contact with malnutrition.
Amidst economic instability and health sector challenges, MSF is calling on additional partners to join the fight against malnutrition. They are campaigning for preventive measures and early detection using the mid-upper arm circumference method. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
Time now for some sports news. In the Nigeria Premier Football League, Abia Warriors held host Akwa United to a 1-0 draw at the Godswill Apabio Stadium in Uyo in a matchday 2 clash played earlier today. Adejo Jongwa of the team got the opener for the visitors as early as the 4th minute of the first half. The host then levelled in the second half. That's on either time after 90 minutes. Obaisi United were held to a draw by Kano Pillars in Yenagua. Katsina United made good of their home advantage to beat visiting Bendel Insurance 2-1. Niger Tornadoes and Nasara United settled for a goalless draw, while Shooting Stars of Ibadan and Plateau United played a 1-0 draw. Arsenal showed their mettle as Premier League title challengers as Gabriel Magalhaes headed in the only goal of a 1-0 win at rivals Tottenham earlier today in the North London derby. Gabriel got the only goal as the Gunners overcame the absence of key midfielders Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard to extend their North London derby dominance. Arsenal have now won on their last 3 visits to Tottenham, losing just once in May 2022 in their last 8 meetings. Harvey Barnes' stunning strike sent Newcastle third in the Premier League on Sunday after coming from behind to win 2-1 at Wolves. Meanwhile, Mikel Arteta has hailed Arsenal's hunger as the gritty Gunners ignored the absence of Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard to clinch a 1-0 victory at bitter rivals Tottenham. Arteta's side were without skipper Odegaard due to an ankle injury suffered on international duty with Norway, while fellow midfielder Rice served the suspension for his red card against Brighton at the Emirates.
Obviously, we know what it means to our club, to our people to win a London derby, and we have the power to try to make them very happy. So hopefully we have achieved that, and that makes it very special. On the performance, we had moments in the game, some really good ones, some others that we have to suffer. We suffer because we have to adapt a little bit the plan because of the players that we had available, and I loved it.
Countries across Central and Eastern Europe are facing extreme flooding as Storm Boris wreaks havoc across the continent. One firefighter was killed while trying to help people affected by the catastrophic floods. One person has died in Poland, and with another death reported in Romania. Residents in many flooded areas are bracing themselves for more damage as further rain is forecast.
It's been a harrowing weekend for many in Central and Eastern Europe, following the huge amount of rainfall witnessed in the past few days, and more predicted to follow on Sunday and on Monday. Meteorologists say the weather will improve from Tuesday with much drier conditions, but say it will take many days for the floodwater to work down Europe's river catchments, meaning that for some communities, the flooding will get far worse even after the rain has stopped falling. While 7 people are now known to have died in the floods, there are still several more missing. Poland, Romania, and the Czech Republic have borne the brunt of the disaster. Drone footage captured the extent of flooding in a Polish village on Sunday. Fields could be seen completely submerged under brown water, while buildings were surrounded by the flood. There was a dramatic rescue of 4 children and 2 dogs on Saturday after their family was caught in severe flooding. In a Facebook post accompanying the rescue video, crew members from the Provincial Water Rescue Center said the mission, in very difficult conditions, was completed at 1:27 a.m. local time. Cleanup began in a small county in Romania after the torrential rain, as the Secretary of State for Emergency Situations said that living containers will be made available to some displaced people until they can return home. Over in the Czech Republic, fire crews raced to protect homes from rising floodwaters as heavy rains looked set to burst the banks of more rivers. Some parts of the country are facing the worst flooding in almost 3 decades, with 250,000 homes without power due to high winds and rain. And in Germany, the river Isar burst its banks on Sunday as heavy rain continued to batter Central Europe, causing flooding in several parts of the region. While some parts of the southern German state of Bavaria saw a short break of precipitations on Sunday morning, others such as Bissau, near the Austrian border, are still anticipating rising water levels.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump is said to be safe after there were reports of gunshots in his vicinity at his golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida today. His campaign communications director, Stephen Chung, confirmed the former president's safety, adding there are no further details at this time. The Secret Service had confirmed in a post on X that they were investigating a protective incident following or involving former President Trump that took place shortly before 1400 hours. The incident comes almost exactly 2 months after a gunman attempted to assassinate Donald Trump at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, striking. And the main news again. History was made again today as premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, from Dangote refinery is set to hit the Nigerian market any moment from now as the NNPCL trucks load its first set of PMS. And we also told you that with less than 7 days to the governorship election in Edo State, Channels Television and its partner Kimpact Development Initiative brought together major players in the election to assess the state of security in the state. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Have a good night and please stay safe.